by European Climate Act, EU target to achieve climate neutrality by 2050 and achieving of new EU target for 2030 became legally binding for the European Union and its member states. Regulation on governance of the energy union and climate action requires the member states to develop a long-term strategy with the 30-year perspective and consistent with the union climate neutrality objective, and also integrated national energy and climate plan, NECP. It also gives template for the preparation of NECP and elements for the long-term strategy should contain. And very important of that act and also of the regulation is the mechanism for the monitoring of the emissions and progress in meeting those targets. On national level, the law on climate change and ozone layer protection is the umbrella law and provides the legal basis for the drafting of all climate-related strategic documents, including NECP and long-term strategies. Article 6 provides a legal basis for the establishment of the Committee for Policy and Measures of Mitigation and Adaptation to Climate Change. It consists of coordination group. The members are directors in charge for sectors that are either emission sources or sectors sensitive to climate change. The chair of the coordination group is the Minister of Environmental Protection and Energy, and two technical working groups, mitigation and adaptation. They are involved in the preparation of any climate change documents, law, regulations, strategic documents, and we tend to have representatives for all stakeholders, science and business community, civil society, state administration bodies responsible for the individual sectors, local level, youth. So at first, I would like to present where we are in terms of the emissions. Croatia is legally bound by the quantified economy-wide EU target, and Croatia contributes to the fulfillment of joint EU target. So total GHG emission in 2019 were 24.05% below emission in 1990, and data and estimation showed that Croatia fulfilled its obligation and provided emission reduction for 2020. Emission per capita is 6 tons of CO2 equivalent. So predominant sector is energy, including transport, that contribute with 69.6%. We are undertaking measures in all sectors, but we are focused to reduce energy-related emissions. We started with the preparation of the Croatian low carbon strategy a long time ago, already in 2012. Within the UNDP project, actually, we established framework for preparation of the low carbon strategy. Series of sectorial workshops and public presentations were held. In 2014, we published public tender and signed the contract with Economic Institutes for Energy and Environmental Protection. They engaged numerous experts from faculties, Faculty of Electrical Engineering and Computing, Faculty of Mechanical Engineering and Naval Architecture, Transport, Agriculture, Economy. In second step, from 14 to 2015, with the participation of many institutions, expert background documents were prepared, which resulted in green paper that is detailed technical analysis of objectives, measures, scenarios, and impacts, and the white paper that is actually the draft low carbon strategy. During the preparation of the background documents, again, a series of sectorial workshops and public presentations were held in order to involve the experts and interested public in the preparation of our LTS. In the third step, from 2016 to 2017, new calculations and amendments to the low carbon scenarios were carried out, and the reason was changes in the historical data. set changes in the fuel prices and technologies and new assumptions in development of the policies, as decision not to envisage building of any new coal power plant was brought. Then needs for streamlining of obligation came. We started the preparation of the Croatian Integrated National Energy and Climate Plan, NECP, and also other strategic documents. For the purpose of the preparation of NECP, we had two rounds separate of different workshops. For each round included 4 sectorial workshops in many expert meetings. Workshops were divided in 4 groups: renewable energy sources, energy efficiency and transport, energy security and market, and research, innovation and competitiveness. Agenda on every meeting included general discussion on measures and in more details, and on activities of specific measures, who is competent authority for measure and who is activity holder, what is the timeline target, what indicators we can use. In parallel, in last 2 years, we adopted several strategic and legislative documents. I'll mention National Development Strategy of Republic of Croatia until 2030 that contains commitment for achieving climate neutrality until 2050, and also law on climate change and ozone layer protection that I already mentioned came into force at the beginning of 2020. This umbrella law for climate policy also covers all international and EU obligations with competitive bodies, financial and enforcement instruments. In low carbon strategy, we analyzed 2 different scenarios and defined 105 technical and organizational measures. It was finalized after the finalization of the energy development strategy of the Republic of Croatia until 2030 with the view to 2050 and NECP, and adopted in June this year. Certain policy recommendations during the preparation of the strategy were made. At first, reconstruction of the legislation to have all climate change issues in separate law, so we've got Climate Act, and unification of energy sector and climate sector. We have now Ministry of Economy and Sustainable Development, and we've got industry in the ministry and energy, and it is easier to cooperate and to mainstream climate change to energy and industry sectors. What appeared to be constant task is mainstreaming climate change through other sectors like agriculture, transport, and also to establish capacities for reporting. Actually, low carbon strategy does not forecast what will happen. It determines vision, what we want in the future and how to achieve it. The more ambitious transition scenario in strategies dimension with the aim of achieving an 80% reduction in emission in 2050 by applying the measures known today, an emission reduction of 73.1% compared to 1990 could be achieved, and the remaining up to 80% is accounted with the use of new technologies such as CCS. Also, we analyzed for each measure cost effectiveness, GHG mitigation potential, employment, domestic component, and its effect on local development. Since EU target by 2050 on climate neutrality was adopted, followed by new target by 2030 that is updated NDC of the EU, and taking into consideration among the other increased target also for ETS and targets for member states in non-ETS sectors, we prepared scenario for climate neutrality for 2050, which show that Republic of Croatia can reduce emissions for 89.4% by implementation of the measures in all sectors. The remaining part of emissions of 10.6% until achieving climate neutrality will be achieved by measures to increasing afforestation, agroforestry, reducing the use of biomass for energy purposes, increasing production of the furniture and other wood products, and carbon capture and use and storage. For 2030, projections show emission reduction for 44.8%. For achieving that, we will accelerate the measures we set out in the low carbon strategy, such as increasing of the percentage of the buildings to be renovated from 1.6 to 3% per year, accelerating the construction of infrastructure for alternative fuels for road transport, and supporting the purchase of zero-emission vehicles. Also, our Prime Minister announced in Glasgow that coal phase-out year is 2033, and that we will push to do it even earlier. He also announced increased Croatian 2030 target for renewables, amounting to just above 39% in final consumption. Citizens as prosumers will be important part of fulfillment of that goal. Also, we are improving our networks and grid in order to incorporate this greater share of renewables. Important part will be also the modernization of the and decarbonization of the industry. In addition to the previous afforestation plans, as a highly popular tourist destination, Prime Minister announced that Croatia intends to compensate the impact of tourists on CO2 emissions by planting more than 1 million additional trees annually by 2030. For financing all these measures, as a source, we will use EU cohesion funds and national funds fees based on the polluter pays principle for environmental pollution by waste, special environmental charges for motor vehicles, CO2 tax, auctioning revenues, and also fee for subsidizing of the renewables. We estimated during the preparation of our zero scenario that we will need 34.3 billion euros till 2030. That means 20.5 billion of euros in comparison with the reference scenario. We are now under preparation of the action plan for the implementation of the low carbon strategy, and it is a huge challenge. Well, 105 measures is big number, so it is hard work to finalize measures with the required information from different bodies. Other competent authorities first must integrate climate target in their own strategic and other document. So you see lots of changes happening last decade, especially last few years. Presently, we are undertaking continuous consultations with sectorial policy partners on how to implement more ambitious reductions till 2030 in Croatia and meet the target for achieving of climate neutrality till 2050. In the implementation of all these plans, we are going to engage the whole community. Within the Conference of the Future of Europe activities in the last 2 months, we organized 8 panels and final conference and received concerns, support, messages, and proposals from representatives of the sectorial bodies, business sector, unions, local government, education system, media, youth, civil society, and academia. And we plan to continue this engagement.